The Montana gates to Yellowstone National Park will be opening soon. I'm John Sheeran. Coming up, the expectation for visitors by those who run the park.
I'm Gabby Crevitt, and coming up, we'll have the latest updates on a Big Sky man who was attacked by a grizzly bear while mountain biking last week.
We are just ahead of 6:30 now, back here on Montana This Morning. Caitlin Corbett and Matt Elwell in the studio, and our Chet Lehman, of course, is in the West Yellowstone area, right at the entrance to Yellowstone National Park. Chet, have we seen more people showing up yet?
No, lots of vendors have been rolling through getting themselves ready. A couple of big trucks heading this direction as well. We do have a guest we're going to chat with here in just a second, though, talking about when this does get busy. And
now we'll have a little chat with Matt about the weather. Visitors are going to be coming in very soon. How's it going to look today?
There's a chance that we could see an isolated thunder shower in the area as you get into the mid to late part of the afternoon. We're talking after 3 o'clock. You see some of these storms trying to develop. These are going to be the garden variety thunder showers. We're not expecting severe weather, but we may have a few downpours and breezy conditions for a few areas. Highs today, mid to upper 70s for Bozeman, mid 70s in Butte, and you can see Yellowstone National Park there. A little on the breezy side this afternoon. We will, of course, talk more in depth about what you can expect for the next few days in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. And as we just heard, and as we've been doing all morning, we're live today in both West Yellowstone with Chet Lehman and Gardner with Nick Petriccioni. Both of them awaiting today's reopening of Montana Park gates after the shutdown due to COVID-19. First, we're going to start with Chet in West Yellowstone. Chet, you're with a socially distanced guest right now.
Yes, that's a fact. Joining us this morning, Randy Roberson from West Yellowstone. Randy, how's it feel? June 1st, and they're about to lift those barricades over there.
Well, we're happy that it's happening. It's about 6 weeks later than normal, but people are wanting to come visit the park. They want the open spaces, and we're looking forward to them getting here.
Well, what's it been like getting ready for this? I mean, I can't imagine what it must be like for you folks in town. 209,000 people through the park in May of last year. Nobody this year. How do you account for that?
Well, it's just part of the deal. The whole country's feeling that kind of pressure, and we spent this time getting ready, getting things safe for the visitors, safe for our employees, different working with the county and the state, and just making sure that everybody's going to be safe when they come here.
You feel good about that? You feel you folks are ready to handle this in the right way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been watching, the recommendations from the federal government, from the state, the local, and we think we're ready.
This is one of those things that, I mean, you've had some time to prepare and those kind of things, but you folks deal with people from different states, different countries at this time of the year. The education that you're going to have to do with them, are you prepared for that part of it as well?
Yes, we've been provided handouts and notices to hang on the walls and the doors to get them ready to, hopefully they're going to behave the way they're supposed to too. Right. And also we're going to see probably a lack of sometimes there's a language barrier, but because of international travel, we're probably not going to see as many folks that might have some language barriers. So we hope everyone's going to obey the rules and do their part in keeping the parks open and keeping the visitation going.
Well, again, Randy Roberson joining us this morning. Congratulations on the park opening up here in just a little bit, and we'll let you get ready for your business. Thanks for spending a little time with us this morning.
Thanks for coming up.
Appreciate it very much. Again, Chet Lehman, Randy Roberson live in West Yellowstone. Let's head over to Gardner and see what's happening with Nick.
Chet, I am joined here by Mike Keller. He is the general manager of Xanterra. They run a lot of the tourism part of the park. We have some lodges that are starting to open up today, some that are going to have to wait till mid-June. What is actually opening today here in Gardner?
So in the Mammoth Hot Springs area, we're beginning to open some cabins, very limited use, as well as the terrace grill for food service and the gift shop.
Now, campgrounds also opening. Does that include all campgrounds or just a limited number?
A very limited number to start with. We're going to be doing this very slowly and gradually as we move along in the coming weeks.
Now, the Xanterra staff, of all that you have, what have they been trained in to help with social distancing as we welcome in a lot of guests?
Great question. You know, we're doing everything that's you're hearing in the country right now. Social distancing, frequent washing of hands, employees wearing face coverings. We have shields in place to protect employees from visitors and interactions, trying to minimize cash transactions where possible. We're doing everything we can to be socially responsible in terms of ensuring our employee safety and the safety of our guests in the community.
And you said that not everything is opening up today, that there's going to be some things that are going to have to wait till mid-June, a lot of those lodges. What are the conditions that are going to have to happen for you to comfortably open some of those lodges like Old Faithful?
Well, again, we're trying to take this very slowly, methodically, and responsibly. We don't want to go too far too fast. We have to make sure that we're providing safe experiences for our guests. But as we work closely with the public health people in the National Park Service and the counties and the regions around us, we'll follow their guidelines and look at ways that we can possibly expand services later this year.
And just how excited are you, though, to get these doors finally open? I think we have a couple of cars just lined up, eager and waiting to get in. How excited are you to start the season?
Very excited. Yellowstone's a wonderful place. It's great to be open again.
Mike Keller, thank you for joining us, General Manager of Xanterra, as we start to open the park here at Gardner. Beautiful day it's shaping up to be, and we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Nick. As we just heard, concessions are reopening, some lodging is reopening, and as visitors head back to Yellowstone today, MTN's John Shearer reports they will be expected to do their part to maintain social distancing.
With more than 2 million acres, Yellowstone has plenty of room to spread out. But some places, like this overlook in Canyon, can be a lot more crowded.
I fully expect there'll be plenty of pictures of people that are not social distancing necessarily or adhering to health guidance. And we're going to do our best to help facilitate that. But as I've also said, I'm not putting Park Service employees into the middle of crowds of people who are acting irresponsibly.
Which means the burden for keeping Yellowstone safe is on the visitors. Here at Norris, there are plenty of places to spread out and maintain your distancing, just like in other parts of the park. But also, like elsewhere, there are a few spots that are a little more cramped, like at the overlooks for the famous Steamboat Geyser.
As you know, even on a normal year, we're not able to keep people away from bison and bears, let alone keep every single human being 6 feet away from each other.
There are signs with guidelines, handouts, social media messages, and changes in how people can use some areas. Here at Grand Prismatic Spring, the problem is narrow pathways. So what the Park Service is doing is one-way traffic.
I feel optimistic, and I think we're going to be able to push through this and accelerate and get more opened, continue to keep people safe, but at the same time, we are ready, if necessary, to pull back some of those operations if we have to.
Here at Old Faithful, park officials are asking that people spread out a little bit. Don't just hang around these benches on this side of the famous geyser. They're asking that people take a walk, head over this way. There's a boardwalk and a trail that goes around the entire feature, and Old Faithful can be seen equally well from anywhere along that trail. In Yellowstone National Park, John Shearer, MTN News.
Time now 6:37. Last week we reported to you that a man was attacked by a grizzly bear while mountain biking on a trail near Ouzel Falls in Big Sky. MTN's Gabby Crevitt has an exclusive interview with the man's wife and has the latest on his condition.
It's going to be a long haul. There will be some surgeries that are going to be many months down the road, but we're off to a really good start.
Peter Scherfig was excited to get out on a bike ride for his birthday last week, while his wife Katie and grandson Carter stayed at home.
We heard the sirens because we live just across the golf course from the medical center in Big Sky. And Carter loves sirens, so we looked out the window and watched the ambulance go into the medical center, not having any idea that it was Peter in there.
Shortly after, Katie got a call from Joe Jacobs, the person who found Peter, who had made it to the road from the trail.
Peter tried to write in the dirt, bear, and then Joe got out a piece of paper for him. And he wrote bear again and can't breathe, and then wrote down my name and phone number.
Peter was flown to a hospital in Portland for surgery and treatment. Injuries include broken bones in his face, jaw, ribs, but no internal injuries.
They did some surgeries on Friday, and everything went as planned. He's in kind of a holding pattern now. They're lightening up on his pain medications so that he can become a little more alert and start breathing on his own.
A family friend started a GoFundMe page that has raised over $63,000, all going towards Peter's medical expenses. Katie says she's grateful for all the community support so far.
It makes me cry. It's overwhelming. I can't believe that so many people have been so interested and wanting to help.
In Big Sky, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
And a challenge during this whole thing, Katie hasn't been able to talk face-to-face with her husband because of COVID-19 restrictions. It's 6:39 now. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to head back to Yellowstone National Park communities to hear more from park and business people about today's reopening of the Montana gates. What they're saying is just ahead, and here is what's just ahead on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we're in Minneapolis, New York, and D.C. as violent protests and riots continue nationwide. New York City's police commissioner also joins us to talk about how his officers are responding. And first on CBS This Morning, we'll talk with NBA legend and political activist Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We'll talk about why he's urging people not to rush to judgment against the protesters. Plus, South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott joins us. We're going to hear what he told the president about the White House response and the president's controversial tweets. And we're taking a closer look at the history of fear of black men in American society, a fear that often leads to violence against them. We'll see you at 7.